Hey, Shalom, Shalom, the stuff. Souls by giving no praise. Tiaba, Shem, Yao, Shaba, Shem, Dash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS and honors to brothers doing the work in truth. Was sincerity. Now, I saw something on the interwebs where basically a guy was just saying, raw, he was, you see how these niggas are still shocked by racism, quote unquote. Right, but basically, yeah, I saw what he said, and it was like, "Raw racism's mad, you know." That's how they talk. He's like, racism's mad, you know. Like, how can you really hate me because I'm a couple shades darker than you? Right now, that is a scriptures say Hosea 4:16. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Right, that's a lack of knowledge because and first things first, there ain't no such thing as white people, there ain't no such thing as black people, right? Now, when you hear us talk, we say so-called white and so-called black, right? Because those are the terms that the people understand, right? Now, we say when we're saying so-called white predominantly, right, we're talking about the descendants of the man Esau, right? So the majority of these white people are Edomites, right, according to the Bible, right, which means they're the wicked, which means they are to be destroyed. Now, has to be said, you do have so-called white people whose line actually goes back to Israel, right? For instance, you got a lot of Kurds, a lot of Sicilians, a lot of Irish, a lot of Romanians, a lot of Albanians, right? And ultimately, you've got a lot of Israelites scattered throughout the world that look like these heathen nations, right? But you got to, first things first, you got to address that whole concept of white and black. That doesn't exist according to the scriptures, right? It's a thing of Jacob and Esau, right? And it goes way back. It goes way back, right? This is Genesis 3:15, right? So this goes back to the very beginning, right? It says, "And I'll put enmity between thee and the woman, between thy seed and her seed," right? It says, "It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel," right? Now, but if it's and this is deep because it's even a serpent. That serpent, right, is representative of Esau, the so-called white man, right? It says, "I will put enmity between the woman and between thy seed and her seed," right? And as we're going to read into, right, Esau, he's had a perpetual hatred, right, between for Jacob, right? And he's done wickedly to his to who was originally his brother, right? So this is Genesis 25:21. It says, "And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren." Yeah, that's what people in the ancient world used to do, right? They didn't do IVF, right? They said, if they couldn't conceive, they used to pray to the Lord and be like, "Hey, Lord, but because my wife can't conceive, can she conceive?" Right? It says, "Then Yahweh was entreated of him." So the Lord was like, "Ah, cool, man, I'll make her conceive." Right? So it shows you that it's the Most High who opens up the womb. Right? It says, "And Rebekah, his wife, conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus?" And she went to inquire of Yahweh. Right? Now, what do you call it? You hear Apostle Tahar break this down recently. He was saying it was like it's not just they're fighting. This was a proper fight. Like it was like a death match, right? So they're all fighting in her belly, and she's like, "Ross, if this is of the Lord, why is it so?" Right? It says, "And Yahweh said unto her, Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Right? And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger." Now, out of Jacob and Esau, the so-called Negro, Hispanic, Native American, right? And Esau, right? So Jacob being so-called Negro, so-called Native, so-called Hispanic, and their scatterings all throughout the world, right? Who's stronger, Jacob or Esau? Esau being the so-called white man, right? And like I said, you might quote, think of Khabib or whatever, but Khabib's a Jake. He's an Israelite, right? You might think of Tyson Fury. Once again, he's an Israelite. Basically, if they're good at anything, then they're Israelites, right? If they look like these heathen nations, but we're talking about the, predominantly, right, the large majority, right? Who's stronger. My nan could beat up Jacob Rees-Mogg. My nan could beat up half of those people in, sitting in parliament, those devils, right? It says, and the elder shall serve the younger, and that's one of the reasons why Esau hates us, right? Because the thing is, let me get it. It says Genesis 27:34 says, and when Esau heard the words of his father, so I've jumped into the story in the interest of time, right? This is when Jacob and Esau are receiving the blessings. You can read Genesis 25-27 in your own time, right? It says, when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. Right? And he said, thy brother came with subtlety and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, is he not rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. Right, he took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? Right, now this is actually further proof of who Esau is in the reincarnation. Right, because we just read in this chapter, no, not even in here, it's what do you call it, further through here, or 26, I forget where, right, that basically Esau sold his birthright, but he gave it away. Right, but here he's talking to his father, and he's making it sound like, what do you call it? Like, Jacob was wicked. He stole the birthright, which ultimately it was never yours, because we read in Genesis 25 and 23 that the birthright was that basically the elder shall serve the younger. Who was the elder? Esau, and who was the younger? Jacob. Right? It says yeah, so and then who does that to this day, right? Who likes to play the victim, right? What do people say in the world? White women tears, when they'll go around do some shit, and then when shit hits the fan, they want to cry like a bitch, right? Who's known for hypocrisy throughout the earth in terms of geopolitics? America. They'll do one thing, and then someone does that same thing back to them. They go and they hit them. They hit them people, man. Right? I mean, how that miss Cain and Abel, right? Esau, the so-called right man, he was Cain, right? It says, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and with wine have I sustained him, and what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shalt thou live. Once again, this is further proof on who Esau is today, right? Because who goes around with a great sword, right? Killing and just bullying their way to everything, right? Russia and America. And they're ultimately, and really, these NATO countries, right? England, right? Germany, France, do what we say, otherwise we gonna do X, Y, Z to you, right? They're the ones with the big sword, right? It says, and shall serve thy brother, right? And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck, right? Because there was a period of time when these Edomites were in subjection under us, right? It says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him, right? He hated Jacob. Now you look at slavery. You read the stories that happen. You read the accounts. Was that not hate? You see how you might be in the workplace, how how Esau treats you, even how these Israelite foreigners that look like white, how they treat you, because for all intents and purposes they are Edomites, right? That's hate. Esau has had hate for us, right? It says, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob, right? So Esau had it in his heart to kill his brother, right? But the Lord, the Lord, what you call it, was with Jacob, right? As we read, it was prophesied that it was going to, play out this way, which is why it says the elder shall serve the younger, right? But from that point, Esau, he's been wanting to kill Jacob, man. Right, so it's not because you're this color, that color. Those are new terms, right? Only a couple 100 years old, if I forget the exact year, but the elders and apostles have mentioned the date, but I don't want to butcher. This is Ezekiel 35:5, because it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, right? So Esau's had a perpetual hatred, man. Right, it says, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel. Oh my, and has he not? Right, by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in their time that their iniquity had an end. Right, so there's a judgment that's going to come for that. Right, it says, thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and he killed us, man. Once again, I ask you the question: was slavery not hate? What he did to us? The way he pushes abortion on our people, the way he makes the nastiest industries where our people are at, the way he systematically attempts to kill our people unto this day, is that not hate? Right, so once again, Esau doesn't hate you. The so-called white man doesn't hate you because you're a so-called black man. He hates you because he's an Edomite and you're an Israelite. You're a son of Jacob. This is Jeremiah 31:35. It says, thus saith Yahweh, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. Yahweh of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me. Thus saith Yahweh, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith Yahweh. Now this is the Lord, taking the piss, basically. He's being what they say, facetious, right? Because you read Isaiah 55:11, the Lord said, look, man, my word will not go return unto me void. Malachi 3:6, I'm Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. So these things are never going to happen, right? But just to home in on the 37th verse, right, it says, if heaven above can be measured and foundation of the earth searched out beneath, what's Esau been doing? He's been sending his probes up into the heavens, trying to measure the heavens, but each time he goes there, he finds it's expanding. He's trying to measure out the earth, trying to measure out the seas, right? But he can't do it. Why? Because the Lord will never cast away Israel. Why? Because he made a covenant with Israel, and he's not a man that he should lie, right? And if he says something's going to happen, it's going to happen, right? But that's it. It's one of those topics, really, you can go into a load of things, but I believe I've hit the point, right? So, Lord's will, as always, I was edifying. Till the next time, Shalom.